Good evening and welcome to Salina League of Women Voters Primary Candidate Forum. My name is Lori Tro and I am president of the Salina League of Women Voters. And I appreciate all of you coming. And I'm going to turn it over to Amy Adams, our moderator, and she's going to go over all the information about how the forum is going to work. And then we'll start with questions and we'll get started.
Thank you, Lori. All right. So tonight's forum is sponsored by the Salina League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan, not-for-profit organization. It features candidates running for local office in the August 2nd election. We want to make sure everyone understands that the August 2nd election is not only a primary election. The constitutional amendment concerning abortion is on the August 2nd ballot. And every registered voter in Kansas, whether a member of any party or no party, is eligible to vote on that issue. July 12th is the final day to register for that election. You can register at ksvotes.org. We urge everyone eligible voter to register by July 12th, and every registered voter to vote, either in advance or on August 2nd. We would like to thank the organizations who are helping to record this event for future posting and broadcast. Salina Media Connection and Smoky Hills Public Television out of Bunker Hill. We will also be showing the forum on Facebook at Smoky Hills PBS Facebook, as well as the League of Women Voters Salina Kansas. You can also find it on youtube.com/Salina Media Connection. Thanks to the Salina Public Library for making this space available, and thanks to Leslie Eichelberry from Salina Post for assisting with questions. Thanks to the candidates and the audience members for attending, and thanks to the members of the Salina League of Women Voters, all of whom are volunteers. Our first session features candidates for Salina County Commission, District 5. District 5 is generally the northwest section of the county, plus various parts of the city of Salina. The district map is linked at the League website, lwvsalina.org, on the elections page. The candidates for District 5 include, in alphabetical order, Randall Hardy, Joe Hay, and Mike White. Mike White is not with us, but we do have Mr. Hay and Mr. Hardy. We will start with opening statements of 1 minute each. We have a timekeeper who will show a yellow card at 30 seconds and a red card when time is elapsed. We will begin with Mr. Hardy, 1 minute for his opening statement.
Thank you. And thank you for the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. It's a great event and I'm glad to see so many people here tonight. Once again, my name is Randall Hardy and I have been a Salina resident for 42 years. I know you don't believe that. During that time, I served as City Commission from 2013 through 2016 and the Kansas Senate from 2017 through 2020. That experience has given me a unique set of skills and knowledge to enable me to succeed as County Commissioner. Most people who run for local government are nice guys and gals. I am a nice guy, but I get things done. And I did, both on the city and state levels. Feel free to ask for examples. I have experience working with government and business officials all over Kansas. That experience might provide a foot in the door for jobs or other benefits to Salina County. I look forward to working hard for the people of Salina County, and I would appreciate your vote on August 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, 1 minute for Mr. Hay's opening statement.
Hi, I'd also like to thank the League of Women Voters. Again, my name is Joe Hay Jr. I'm running for the Salina County Commission District 5. I'm a 50-year-plus citizen of Salina County and Salina. My wife, Mary, and I have 15 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren, and I've served the great city of Salina as a city commissioner and presently serve as the chair for the City Planning Commission. I am a member of Sacred Heart Catholic Church and a 60-year member of the Boy Scouts of America, and also a member of the Knights of Columbus and the Salina Breakfast and Bucks. With the economy the way it is now, we need to be more careful with our taxpayers' money. I have some ideas that I have for this and for this issue, and hope that you'll let me show you what those are. Salina's future depends on it, and so does Saline County. Thank you.
We will now allow questions from Ms. Eichelberry from Salina Post. After that, we will take questions from the audience. So please be thinking of questions to ask that apply to both candidates and have not already been asked and answered. The candidates will have just 1 minute for each answer.
Thank you. All right, guys. What do you believe is the most urgent need for Saline County? And if you are elected, what would you do to alleviate that or get us to that point, depending on whether it's positive or negative? Either one.
Do you want to go first this time?
Sure. You know, I think one of the most urgent needs for Saline County right now is with the economy the way it is, with the gas prices, the food prices, and everything up, we need to take a look at our budget that we've got. We also need to take a look at some of the other things that Saline County is faced with. I think we need to look at shared services for Saline County, using shared services through the city. I think we need to be more vigilant with our money and make sure that whatever, instead of having wants, we need to look at the needs of Saline County.
All right, thank you. This is a really unusual time for our city and our county and our state, actually, because of we're coming out of this COVID pandemic, and we're coming out not knowing exactly what's going on and where we're going to land. And I think that one thing that I would like to see us capitalize on, number one, is housing. In the city of Salina, there's a severe need for affordable housing to house quality jobs that I'd like to work on to bring to Salina and Saline County. I would like to work with the city officials and county officials as well as a partnership, and that's where coming from the city commission may make a difference to bring good jobs to Saline County. We're already partway there because of the recession and the lack of labor to give us better paying jobs. That's okay, thanks.
Well, Mr. Hardy, you kind of answered my next question,
Okay.
but maybe you could elaborate a little bit more. What do you see the county's role in helping with the housing issue and with the bringing in commerce?
I think the county has a lot of say with on the job side of it, because there are a lot of manufacturing types of businesses that prefer to be where there's more real estate. And so I think that the county would play a bigger part there, and I have some resources. In fact, my contact list is very big now that I've been in the Senate and on the commission. And I think I would be able to work with other people to bring interest and to our county and to our city, and for potential quality jobs for the county. And I think that's probably the largest part. The housing part, there's always annexation going on, so that would play into the equation as well.
Okay. Well, I agree with Senator Hardy, ex-Senator Hardy. Former, okay. Anyway, Saline County plays into a lot of, there's a lot of area out there for housing. There's a lot of different places. One thing that I do think that the city and the Saline County commissioners, we need to get together. It's always been that button heads, and we never seem to be able to be on the same page a lot of times. To solve a lot of these problems on housing, jobs, and everything, if both entities get together and work together, I think that we can work out a lot of those.
For quite a while now, there's been talk about the brain drain in Kansas and young people leaving the state, and that we need to keep them in the state. Do you see it as part of Saline County's role to help keep people in the state and in the county itself? If so, why?
I think it is. We do see a lot of our younger people leaving. And, we need to retain and retention those young people to stay in Saline County, go to school, come back in, help build Salina and Saline County. We need to make sure that we've got, number one, the housing for them to be in. We've got to make number two, is we got to make sure we got jobs for them. And we got to make sure they're good paying jobs. If we have the housing and the jobs and the places for our kids and our grandkids to come back to, I think we can retain them.
I think that one place where we can do a lot better in retaining our youth is with better access to the internet. And when I was in the Senate, I served on the Utilities Committee, and so I was introduced to a lot of different things that are available that we may or may not be taking advantage of right now. There are ways to provide internet, especially in the rural parts of the county, that are pretty cheap and reasonable and fast. And I don't know that they're being promoted. I haven't seen advertisements anywhere about it anyway. But anyway, I think that if we provided a better hookup for the people all over the county, then we would be able to provide options for them so they could work from home, doing all kinds of business. My youngest son has his own business on his computer, so I know it's possible, and it would be good to have.
One more and then. Assuming you win and you go through your term, you decide, I have other things I want to do, play with my grandkids, whatever. Looking back on your term, what do you hope to be remembered for and why?
I would, every role I've served in, I only had one thing in mind, and that is to make life better for the people back in the city or in the state. I wanted people to, wanted to keep people, wanted to make life better for people. One thing I did on the city commission, you walk up and down downtown sidewalks, you see outdoor tables and people having a glass of wine with their meal. That was my ordinance that made that happen. And this was before the pandemic, so we didn't know how important that kind of thing might be. But it's now law. And so I think about things and I said, well, how can I make life better for people here? Let's give them options. That's why, I want them to have a choice on August 2nd. So that's what I would like to think.
I would like to see that, that people look back and say, he listened. He understood what we were trying to tell him. He understood what we wanted, and he tried to do what was right and what was best. I want my grandkids to look back and say, my grandpa was a city commissioner, my grandpa was a county commissioner. He made a difference in the city of Salina. And during my 2 terms at my term at city commission, I felt that I made a difference, and I feel that I can make a difference with the county. We've got so many things going on that we can do to make it positive. So that's I want to be able to say, people look back and say, he did make a difference.
Thank you, Leslie. We will now take questions from the audience. So please raise your hand if you have a question. I will call on you and repeat the question so that those watching remotely can hear.
And speak loud.
Are there any questions? Yes. There.
Say one.
Yes.
Talking about affordable housing, I'd like to know what you consider affordable. Like for me, I make $13.50 a month. What is affordable?
Ask the candidates to define what they consider affordable housing. All right,
Okay? You know, right now, I don't think there's such thing as affordable housing. I mean, if you look at the prices of lumber, the prices of, you know, everything, affordable housing is just out of sight. You know, if you would have asked me that 2 years ago, you know, I would have said affordable housing, finding, you know, some place where you would be able to live, some places where, you know, you would be able to, you know, be able to own your own car, places to be able to go places and everything. Affordable housing today, unless we get the high prices of lumber and the high prices of, you know, that kind of stuff down, affordable housing is going to be tough.
You know, I think some of the prices that we're seeing are a result of the pandemic, and I think that, you know, like the lumber prices, I think they peaked and they're starting to come down now. But what I would like to see is something where I'd call affordable like 90 grand. I don't know if that sounds reasonable to everybody or not.
Okay,
Yeah,
what's that housing cost, what about rent?
that would be about 900, 800, somewhere in there. But what I'm thinking of is not traditional housing. I'm thinking of something I would call tiny homes. Homes that are, you know, 400 to 700 square feet that have small yards but are attractive and comfortable and air conditioned, that would provide, you know, housing at a reasonable cost, and plus you can fit a bunch of them in a residential lot. We don't have to do all this greenfield for something like tiny houses. We can take a vacated block in downtown, like the one behind Salina Regional, and do something with it like that.
Other questions from the audience?
Both of you have served on the city commission, now you're looking at county commission. I think Mr. Hay mentioned it already, there is a divide between city commission and county commission. What are a couple specific ideas that you would have to bridge that divide between city and county so that they can work together better?
Mr. Barber has asked about bridging the divide between the city and county governments.
I think there's an obvious solution to that, and that is to have some sort of regular get-togethers. And it doesn't have to be in a formal setting necessarily, but it would have to be, you know, let's get together and just get to know each other a little better. Instead of having walls that divide you, buildings that divide you, be in the same room and talk about some of the issues. You'd probably be surprised how you start finding synergies between the two bodies of government. And I think that that's something that I would be interested in doing. Also, I think we have a transparency problem, and it's not necessarily on purpose, but without the Salina Journal, that's why everybody's here, because they're going to read about this in the paper tomorrow. And so I think we have to be better at communicating, not just with each other, you know, city and county, but also with the citizens of the city and the county.
Communication. I mean, if you guys we can't meet in the middle, we can't talk, we can't sit down, and we can't agree on things, it's never going to work. I think that with the commission that we've got now in the city and the commission that is currently serving, and I would say with either one of us, to be able to sit down with the city and work out the differences. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I talked about shared services. You know, City of Salina has got so many things that the county could work off of in the same way with the county and the city. They just need to get together and they need to communicate. When I was on the city commission, we had a couple of meetings with the county. I thought they were really good meetings. We tried to work stuff out on the Expo Center. Of course, that drug on for months and months. But all you have to do is sit down and reach a happy medium.
Mr. North.
To follow up on the housing question, when I was on the planning commission, Gary in the planning department at the time had been examining partnerships with some of the major businesses in town. I have in mind Schwann's, for example, not the only example, but they're bringing how many hundreds of jobs, certainly more than 100 new jobs to town, increasing the stress on the housing market and the need for their employees. Do either of you see any way to, I don't want to say put pressure on, but to work cooperatively with the businesses that hire the most people in order that they might bear some of the costs, perhaps buy other houses, perhaps add a rent supplement, that kind of thing, rather than it all falling on the taxpayer? Because as you say, Mr. Haig, reducing the tax burden is part of it.
The question was, working collaboratively with businesses to meet the housing needs.
That's happening right now. The city commission has been meeting along with and been communicating with the planning commission. They've talked to Swans, they've talked to Great Plains, they've talked to, I believe it's Aviation One, and all of those entities are really interested in trying to figure out a way that they can get housing in Salina. I know Aviation One is wanting to add lots of jobs. So is Great Plains. But as long as we don't have the housing, they can't do it. So the city has been working with, and talking to these different places. And I think that's what we need to do, the county and the city both, is just keep on talking to these places, see what kind of collaboration we can get with them. I think we're moving forward. We got some stuff in the works. We got a lot of housing coming up, and I think it's it's going to be a good deal for the city of Salina and the Saline County.
Is there any commitment from those businesses financially for that to happen?
I can't answer that question about financially. I know there's commitment to work with us or work with them.
All right, I would remind the audience not to answer or ask follow-up questions. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Where's the fun in that?
I think partnerships have been part of our fabric forever. That's the way we're getting downtown developed. We're working with local businesses. Housing would be an extension of that, but I see that if these companies are interested in bringing people in, they know what the housing situation is, and they would not want to cost themselves money by not being able to afford provide housing for their employees that they can actually afford. So I think that it's an advantage for businesses to come to county government or city government or both, and try to work out some sort of partnership to make the housing, whether it's the tiny homes or whatever. Be innovative, be creative, think out of the box, and let's make people happy.
Yes.
There's been quite a few homeless coming into Saline County, and reports are that some of the homeless have been showing residents that have dealt with them downtown that a judge has told them to come to Salina, and also that they are being dumped at the county line from another county. Do you guys work with the sheriff's department to kind of control these homeless that are coming into our county? If the other counties don't want them, why should we have to take them?
The question was regarding the homeless population in the county and working with the sheriff's department to address that issue.
The homeless will always be with us. I think that's even biblical. The poor, and so that I think that we're never going to get to zero homeless people in Saline County. We are in the perfect place in the country for the homeless. We're at the intersection of two major interstate highways. They're likely to get here. I've heard they even have little books that tell them where to go to get the best medical care and where to find food and all that sort of thing too. And we're featured prominently in that publication. I think what we need to do is figure out ways that we can be compassionate and make sure whether they can go to one of our facilities that where there's room for them. I don't think that the answer is to and find jobs for them. Frankly, I don't think the answer is to just take them to the next county line. That doesn't solve anything.
That's a problem. It's a big problem in Saline County and in Salina. If you go up on North Broadway, underneath the bridge on North Broadway up there, I mean, it's like a tent city up there. Some of those people want to be homeless, some of them don't. Like you said, we need to be compassionate. We need to, like he said, they're never going to go away. We need to work more with our services we have in town. The rescue mission. The rescue mission has been really, really good about trying to help. The Salina County Sheriff, they patrol that area quite extensively. We need to make sure that, that we're not letting, if we are getting people in, we need to make sure that we stay on top of it and make sure that we take care. I mean, they are our citizens too. They may not spend as much money as we do, but they still are our citizens, so we need to, figure out a way with the churches and things around to help them out.
Okay. What, in general, do you believe is the role of government, and where does the county government play in that?
In the homeless?
No, the role of government
Okay.
in general, and the county government under that.
Well, the county government, they overlook, the county maintenance, they overlook, the election, the county attorney, emergency management, the senior services, district courts, community corrections. They play a big part in keeping those entities funded and going. Whatever it is, else in there, like I said, the roads, the bridges, county maintenance.
Mr. Hart.
The county, we have the city and we have the county. When I was on the city commission, we did have one thing that we jointly funded, and that was the city county health department, which now belongs to the county alone. And I think that's fine. I was okay with that. But I think that we do have distinct functions that work best for either the city to perform or for the county to perform. And the system we have, I think, is pretty doggone efficient in getting things done and making sure all the cogs and the wheels are working properly. Like with the COVID epidemic, the city really appreciated the county giving us constant feedback on where Salina County was with the pandemic, that sort of thing.
Yes, in the back.
Yes, I have a question about the tax housing appraisals. I was shocked to find that mine went up like $40,000. And so with that, could you explain to me, each one of you, how that works and what I would assume a revenue jumper? What would you do with that extra money if it was extra?
So the question was about housing appraisals, which have recently gone up, and they're asking the candidates to explain how that works and how the revenue is used. We'll start with Mr. Hart.
Well, this is something that is kind of a bug for me too. I don't really like the way things happen. When I was on the city commission, it took me a while to sink in to understand what was happening. But what happens is when your valuation goes up, your taxes are based on what they call a mill levy. And the mill levy then is based on that. And so if the value goes up and then the mill levy goes up, the city or the county then gets a free raise. And I think that that should be reversed. I think that once we have a budget set and that we know what things are costing us, that we should not penalize the homeowner just because they were fortunate enough to have the value of their home increase. I think that then we should look at the mill levy and hopefully bring it down instead of leaving it the same, so that we're more fair to the citizens of the county.
Mr. Hart.
And yes, and like I said, the mill levy I feel right now is way too high. With the way the mill levy is now, and like you said, when the appraiser goes in and takes a look at that and your housing goes up, and not only does your housing go up, a lot of other things go up along with that. I think what we need to do is we need to step in, and when I said earlier about the budget, we need to take a look at the budgets, and we need to find out what the needs are and not the wants, because a lot of the wants that we've got is what's bringing up the higher taxes and on that. So we need to take a look at what the needs are and not the wants.
All right, we have time for one final question, and I saw this gentleman with his hand raised.
To what extent is the current expo center, that whole complex, being funded by taxpayer dollars today? Do either of you know what that amount might or might not be?
The question was about the expo center and to what extent it is being funded by tax dollars. Mr. Hay, I'm going to go to you first here.
You know, I cannot answer on how much is the Expo Center is funded. I do know that, since, a lot of the, since they got rid of the rodeo grounds and some of the stuff that they're doing, a lot of the taxpayer money, that's coming in on taxes and stuff is being used for the renovation. They've done a lot of work. They've got new windows, they got new fans, they got I think they got a new warm-up arena and different things like that. But, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you what exactly that dollar amount is.
It took me all the way till today to find out where the budget is on the county website. This is another part about transparency that I would like to see worked on. So I have not been able to go through the budget line item by line item, but it's not, I would say it's just guessing. It's not a significant amount of the budget, and a lot of it can be planned for. The county knows that they're responsible for that portion of the facilities that fall under their guards.
All right, we will now have a 1-minute closing statement from each candidate, beginning with Mr. Harvey.
Thank you once again for coming out. One thing we really didn't talk about a lot, I have a few priorities that I was wanting to talk about. I think that we could find lower property tax solutions for Saline County by looking at more efficient ways of doing things. When I was on the city commission, the Salina Field House, we got a bid of $12 million for a contractor to build it. And I said, that sounds like a lot of money. So I found another contractor from southeast Kansas that provided that building for $9.5 million. I think we can do stuff like that. I think I was in the highway business for 30 years. Good roads are big on my agenda. And I want to make sure that the county has the best roads out there, quality jobs, better communication and transparency between county government and citizens, and better and cheaper internet options for all of our citizens. Those would be the things that I would be looking at.
Mr. Hay, your closing statement.
I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this. There is a couple of priorities I would like to see too. I'd like to see the senior services budget increased. With so many senior citizens in town now, I think that they need to look out for us a little bit. I would like to see the sheriff's department a little bit better staffed and equipped. Housing, jobs, and trying to get the taxes down in Saline County. Again, August 2nd's coming up. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take a short break to switch to the Democratic race for House District 69, the Republican race for House District 107, and the Republican race for State Board of Education District 7.
And there's seating out here for those of you
Welcome back to the Salina League of Women Voters Candidate Forum. We have 4 candidates in the second session, each from 3 from different offices, and 2 from one office. Okay. I had to do the math really quick in my head. For the candidates who could not attend or did not respond, we offered to allow them to submit a written statement or send a representative. We will introduce them in order of their district numbers. For the new State Board of Education, District 7, we were formerly in District 6, we have incumbent Republican Ben Jones. His opponent, Dennis Hirschberger, is attending an event in Great Bend tonight and has submitted a written statement. I'm an unapologetic conservative who wants to see K-12 education reined in from destructive policies that are putting children at risk from receiving a good education that is robbing them of fundamental skills and the 3 R's. This is being done by using curriculum that is social emotional based and exposing them to illicit sexuality that is very inappropriate and at times initiated without parental or legal guardian knowledge. Transgender trends are simply destroying the roles of male and female, creating confusion and causing a level of hopelessness not seen in our history. I fear this trend will lead to relationship issues that separate children from reality and destroy the traditional family model with sterility and even suicide escalating in the aftermath. Data collection has robbed class time to teach and is being used to give private information to cultural elites intending to promote socialism ideology, most of what parents and even educators have not been informed of. I'm concerned the end game is to create a cultural dependent on Big Brother tech in government. And at that, I have reached time on the statement. That was from Dennis Hirschberger. Okay. All right, from the Democratic race, from House District 69, we have Sarah Cruz and Molly Molina. And from the Republican race for House District 107, we have incumbent Susan Concannon from Beloit. Her opponent, Gerald Johnson of Glasgow, has 4-H events with his children tonight, so he could not attend. He declined to send a statement or representative. Links to the maps showing the boundaries of these districts are available at lwvsalina.org on the elections page. We will start with opening statements of 1 minute each. As a reminder, we have timekeepers. When you see the yellow card, that means you have 30 seconds remaining, and the red card means your time is ended. All right, we will start at this end of the table with Ms. Salina.
Well, I'm Molly Molina, and I'm running for the 69th district. The reason I did it was because me and my friends had started getting into politics more, and I realized no one had gone for it, and we all took kind of like this inner vote between us that someone should step up, that we don't see any young women going up for this. There are some, but we just don't see it being pushed hard enough. It felt like our voices weren't being heard, and I guess I was the one that fell and got pushed into it. So this is a really good learning jump for me and process. So I really hope you guys give me a chance to feel heard and let my friends and other acquaintances, coworkers feel heard. I want to let their priorities be known, and that's what I want to focus on, is from housing, minimum wage, education, food. There's a lot of things I feel like that needs to be called out on, and it's hard to like try to describe it in 1 minute. But there's a lot that I want to talk about.
All right, Ms. Cruz.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Cruz, and I want to start by thanking the League of Women Voters for holding this forum. A little bit about me. I've been politically active my whole life in that I have exercised my right to vote in every local and national election. I'm a relative newcomer to Salina, having moved here just 10 years ago. I have a background in aging and end of life, and since arriving, I have taught classes and workshops in death and dying and after-death care here at the library through the class program, at Kansas Wesleyan, at Bethany College, at K-State, and also at KU, along with teaching hospices in the region. I've also founded a nonprofit natural cemetery just north of here. One of the things I took to heart is that anyone in this country can run for public office and hardly anyone does. Given the political climate these days, I felt it was my time to rise to the occasion and get involved, and I would like to be, represent the people of the 69th district.
Ms. Concanon?
Well, thank you, and thank you to the League of Women Voters. So I'm Susan Concanon. I'm new to Salina politics, but I'm not new to Salina, and I'm not new to politics. I was born and raised here. I grew up out on Simpson Road, east of Salina. I was in the Willing Workers 4-H Club and went to Emmanuel Lutheran Church. I graduated from Central in 1976. Politically, I've served on the city council in Beloit, which is where I currently live now, I should mention that. And then I ran for the House in 2012. So I have been in the Kansas House for 10 years. Redistricting then brought me back to my roots in Salina. They created a district that drops clear down, and I've got the northwest corner of rural Saline County and a section of Salina. I live in Beloit. My husband's a physician. We've been married 42 years. We have 3 children and 5 grandchildren.
And Mr. Jones?
Well, thank you. It's such a cool day in Kansas to be here, right? As we're all melted walking in here. My name is Ben Jones, and I'm the current District 7 Kansas State Board of Education representative. I sit alongside Dr. Dina Horst, who sits on District 6, which previously had Salina. And in redistricting, I've gained Saline County and the rest of Dickinson County, as well as a whole bunch of areas south and west. I am a resident and a lifelong family roots in Sterling, Kansas, and rural Rice County. I am the Director of Discipleship and Outreach with Lions First United Methodist Church, where I'm on staff, as well as involved with Family Community Theater in Hutchinson, where I'm the Vice President and Chair of their Education Committee, working on education initiatives in theater, as well as various odd jobs in the community in Reno and Rice counties. The last 4 years, I'm pleased to say that we have improved graduation rates faster than any other state in the country, as well as post-secondary success. Students getting high school diplomas, as well as certifications out there. And it's great to be here. I saw it was giving a nice ending.
We will now have questions for Ms. Eichelberry from Salina Post. She will begin with questions for the school board race and then move on to the House races.
Thank you. Okay, you have some experience already.
Can you speak up, please?
You have experience of being on the state board already. What do you see as the greatest need for education in the state board?
Yes, greatest need is twofold. One is recovering from COVID. As you know, COVID shut down. I was in the classroom the day that we did shut down. I'm a substitute teacher as well. And it's recovering that. So we did see a loss and a plateauing of graduation rates, post-secondary success coming out of COVID. Now, we did not lose ground of that, but our test scores did suffer. And so how do we catch those kids up, especially those kids that are identified with IEP and special needs, or those kids that are in poverty that didn't have the resources necessarily during COVID to receive quality education during that time that they were out of the classroom. Those are our 2 biggest challenges.
Kind of along those lines, during the pandemic, or we're still sort of in it, a lot of schools switched to giving an online option, distance learning type of option, and in some cases has proved to be somewhat popular. What is your view on continuing to offer that?
Yeah, so roughly 25% of kids will be successful in education no matter what the delivery method. Traditional classroom, online, total virtual, homeschool, it really doesn't matter. And so 75%, it's finding those pieces. A lot of families discovered that they like the freedom of having a virtual education, which we've had in the state for a very long time, that it benefits their family needs, whatever that may be, whether they have family that stretch from coast to coast and they want to go see their family in California, and kind of pick up whenever they go. So that it's a valid platform for some families to choose and for some kids, not every kid. Some of the kids need that traditional brick and mortar classroom setting that they can succeed in. And there needs to be quality, and we have a lot of quality schools here in the state of Kansas, and the majority of our schools, districts in the state of Kansas, were open in person pretty much throughout COVID, with the exception of that last 3 months of 2020, but in the 2021 school year.
Doctors, we were finding out who can follow procedure.
Gotta finish your sentence.
Okay. School safety has been a big issue lately. How safe are Kansas schools, and what else needs to be done to protect students and staff?
Yeah, we have school safety specialists on staff that do address this with schools and provide a good resource. We unfortunately had to utilize this year at Olathe East High School, where we did have a school shooting. Thankfully, it was contained to that front office space, and the kids never were impacted in terms of it hitting the hallways of the school. They were still impacted, of course. And that goes with secure entrances, school resource officers for those communities. We have really, all those mitigation tactics that we put in at Olathe East, we found out worked, because it kept the school shooting from happening and worse. So keep doing that and encouraging our districts to look at ways to make their buildings safer, because every building is unique to that building. And so the solutions need to be locally driven, and we provide that expert help to figure out how to make that end meet.
All right, house people, are you ready? What do you see as the state's, as a whole, most urgent need going into, say, the next couple of years?
Start with Ms. Kincaid.
It's hard to narrow that down to one. Obviously, we've heard a lot of discussion today on housing, and we've got, do I have to say one? Housing is a very urgent need. I do have some numbers on that. I've heard the discussion earlier and would like to share those. I'm going to run out of time if I start getting into that. But workforce development, child care, those are all things that we need to be working on. We are doing well economically. We're coming, the revenues are coming in above expectations. But, so, at some point, I'd like to see an opportunity to lower taxes.
Ms. Cruz.
Last Sunday, the Salina Journal published a 3-page article on climate change and the effect that is having on farming in Kansas. We can expect less consistent, more erratic, and intense weather events from deluge to drought. I would support research targeting crops and cropping systems that can deal with extreme climate conditions. I really believe that if you care about farmers, you need to be concerned about climate change, because farmers are what make up the majority of the state. And it's something that we really need to be concerned about. I would support continued expansion of renewable energy and infrastructure, including solar panels and wind turbines.
Ms. Molina.
For me, I was hoping this wouldn't be my top priority or concern, but it's a right for our body, because it was my focus on the school foods, that we would be progressing and we weren't going to be falling back, but we are somehow, and that ruined a lot of me and my friends' ideas of wanting to do different things and trying to show people that, hey, we're going forward, hey, let's focus on these other things. But it seems like we're falling back in time, and that's hurting a lot of us. And then it's bringing up a lot of points that my friends didn't think were what's going to happen. What am I going to do with my body? What about birth control? What's happening? What happens if I get raped? What's going to happen if a family member, like they talked about that 10-year-old, that suddenly became really big. I wanted to focus on free school lunches, and I didn't realize it would become so dramatic on this on this vote on Roy versus Wade. So that's my biggest concern, in making sure everyone's aware and that misinformation isn't being spread.
What, let me preface this. Medicaid expansion has been a hot topic for quite a while. What are your thoughts about doing that in the state of Kansas, and why?
We'll start with Ms.
This is a pretty personal issue for me. I just got back from spending 3 weeks in Michigan, taking care of my cousin who lives in a trailer alone at the poverty level. And Michigan is one of the states, 38, that have accepted Medicaid expansion. And I actually find it unconscionable that the state of Kansas is grappling so hard with this right now when it would be paid for, 90% of it is paid for by the federal government, and we need to really support people who need health care. Barb got excellent health care because of Medicaid expansion in Michigan, and I think it's absolutely necessary, and if we want to be a compassionate state, as Randy was talking about, this is something that we really cannot fall short on.
Ms. Loretta?
It's kind of the same thing on how I had my views, but I don't know too much on it other than I would assume, why wouldn't you expand on it? Why wouldn't you help people that need medical help? Why isn't that available? Like, there's a lot of things that need to be called out and a lot of things that need to be fixed. And it's odd that that is something that we are struggling so hard to do. It shouldn't be such a hard concern. Why is it so hard to just say, yes, let's just do this. Let's help these people that are in need. This affects a lot of things. Let's just do this. So, like I said, I'm still learning. I want to know more. But I do believe in expanding on it and making it easier for families, children, elderly people who are probably struggling, who have retired, who can't work anymore. I know that's still a struggle. So that's my statement for now until I learn more. Sorry.
Thank you. I strongly support expanding Medicaid. I have worked on that and advocated for it since 2013 when I first came into the House. We are paying for this through our income taxes to the federal level. And at once upon a time, that was going to our hospitals in the form of these dish payments. It's kind of more complicated than that, but at the time when we switched to the Affordable Care Act, there was an expectation that we would expand and that it would come through the state, but we didn't. Then that's when the Supreme Court ruled that we didn't have to. So we are paying for it and then paying for it again through some of our communities that have to pay for income tax increase. I think that it protects, and we get the 90% coming in now, but also if we would come in now, we would get, we get a bonus of like 350 million. So it would be 100% covered.
One more question.
Assuming you are elected, or in your case re-elected, what do you want your legacy to be as a legislator?
Start with Ms. Molina.
Well, for me, this is just a big jump in learning, and I want to be more active. I feel like I don't see enough of someone from my working class that's struggling to just be able to stand on her own 2 feet and do something. I want to be able to provide for my family as well if something ever happened to my boyfriend, or what happens if something happens to my mom. I have to take care of 2 families because my siblings are dependent on my mom still. So there's a lot to this. I feel like learning a lot of these political things can help me better understand it and to help my community, my family, my friends, and to help them understand so that they can see that we can do this as a group, as a community. We can probably make